This came out a while ago. U.S. Department of Agriculture wants us to join the People's Garden community and register our garden. And look at all of these people who have registered their gardens. Here, I guess I could probably find my neighbor somewhere here in Florida. Maybe they've registered their garden. My assumption about all of this is that they genuinely think this is a good idea. It totally creeps a lot of people out that I talk to. What do you think about this?
Yeah, trust me, Allison. The folks who conceived of this in the USDA, I call it the USDA, they definitely think this is a great idea. And I don't, unlike a lot of people, I don't just immediately assume that that there's a nefarious agenda here. A lot of people do. I don't assume that there's a nefarious agenda here, but I don't think that voluntary registering with the government, especially the federal government, is a good thing for anything. I mean, do we really trust the government? I mean, after what we've been through with COVID and Fauci and the CDC and everything else, who wants those people to be tracking and keeping up with our gardens? And to me, this is all part of of an Internet of Things, of a database system that is coming to farmland as well. They're trying to get us to have our cows swallow a radio antenna to broadcast her burps and her farts, so everybody so the federal government can keep up with where she is and what she's doing. This is all part of that. That Bill Gates, World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, whatever. I appreciate that a lot of people in this are trying. They think, if we just had more information, we could make better decisions and blah 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 and all that. But we all, I think, those of us who are thinking, realize that a lot of times this data and this kind of gulag of data can be used for a lot of different things. Remember, the more efficient all that data collection is, the easier it is to hack into and to be used for other things. So if you want to grow what you want to grow what you want to grow, and don't tell the government what you're growing. There's no reason to give them additional ammunition to come after you if you're growing something they don't want you to grow.
I think it is a reflection of something that was definitely rampant in the news business, and that is just the moral busybody syndrome, I guess, where you think that this is what public service looks like, and having your fingers in everybody's pie, knowing what everybody's doing, telling everybody what they should be doing, getting all these people together, like babysitting, I guess, which maybe they wouldn't call it that, but they're calling it like we're sharing ideas and stuff.
Yeah.
But really it's to get their ideas, in my opinion, to you. It's not, I don't think it's necessarily about me getting my ideas to them. But anyway, so yeah, but it's not to say that that's not dangerous or evil in any way. I mean, people think I am running interference for the media when I say that a lot of journalists just truly believe what they're doing, and they're true believers. They don't go home and say, "Oh, I got my big paycheck from Pfizer today. Screw those people. I know better." They don't know better. A lot of them don't know better. They genuinely think that what they're saying is right. And the biggest problem is that the hubris in connection with the ignorance really is a big problem. Like my husband used to say, big power and small minds is a dangerous combination. And I think that's part of a lot of what comes out of this agency, and this in particular. It's been around since 2009. I don't know why recently it was circling again. Maybe just because everybody's freaking out about the government coming after food, which is where we started our conversation today anyway. And it should be maybe more a reflection of, like you said, the distrust people have in the institutions and how concerned people are right now about independence, frankly, generally speaking, but then about being self-sufficient and feeling like the government does not want self-sufficiency among Americans right now.
I couldn't agree with you more. Yes, I think there is a mass sense. I mean, the thing that people talk to me about all the time is how do I disentangle? How do I disentangle? And I think many Americans now are just feeling tangled up. We're feeling like we're in a net. Like the government's net is just becoming broader and more all encompassing. I was reading some stuff lately, and it was talking about before the Civil War, before Abraham Lincoln, basically the federal government was it it was like an afterthought. Nobody thought about the federal government. It was small. You could go. You didn't have to get an invitation. You could go to the White House. You could common people could go and meet with the president. I mean, the federal government was relatively small, but since Abraham Lincoln, who started the USDA and all sorts of things, the federal government has gotten way, 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 way bigger, and it's hard for us to conceive of the non-interventive status at the federal level, not necessarily state and local, but at the federal level, the non-interventive status that our nation enjoyed, for its first 100 years compared to what we have today. It is definitely a micromanaging, nanny state situation where you can't blow your nose or pick your belly button without a license. And that's where we've gotten to. And people are, more and more people are being touched negatively by this interventive strategy. Whether you're a farmer trying to, build a pond and you get afoul of the, water people, or whether you're, not wanting to do vaccines to your cows, but the federal vet says, well, this is best management practice. So, you have to do this anyway. I mean, those kinds of things. More and more people are being touched by this interventive federal agency, day by day. And it becomes, intolerable.
Well, it also seems like more and more people want it. I think I hear more and more people my generation and younger, they can't envision living any other way. They police each other now. It's like it went from something where like we could see the wizard behind the curtain, and now like we do it. We do all the work. Like we police each other. We'll censor each other. We'll ask the government to do all this work for us. Like they don't even have to do it anymore. That's how effective this was, whatever they were doing to get us into this position where we think we can never live any other way.
Yes, you're exactly right. This is where censorship comes from. This is where, colleges can't have somebody in that dares to question the orthodox narrative. We've got to have safe rooms. We can't see it. We can't hear it. We can't, we've got to ban books. We've got to get, all this out. Man, the favorite pastime is sitting around trying to tell somebody else what to do with their life. And that's a tragedy. And but the contradictions in life are so interesting. I mean, we've never had a time in our culture when we wanted the government to get out of our bedroom, out of our marriages, out of our, this kind of thing. But we've never had a time when we want them to be more involved in what we eat or our health program. I was speaking in a university in Pennsylvania a couple of years ago, shortly after Obamacare came in, and I had this room of 200 or 300 kids, college students. I can call them kids, and they're there, and I had just gone in to do something in D.C., and I'd ridden the metro in, and a guy gets on. He's 400 pounds. He's got a pack of cigarettes in his pocket. A 1.5 quart thing of Coca-Cola and Lay's potato chips. A bag about the size of a bushel basket. And I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm responsible for his health. And so I was at this university, I was doing Q&A, and it just kind of organically came up. And so I said, I want to ask you students a question. So I told them this story, and I want one of you to tell me why I'm responsible for his health. And the room just went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Nobody breathed. Nobody said anything. I waited a minute. That's a long time to wait. I waited a second minute.
Yeah.
You know, that's a long time for silence. And, you know, we're looking at each other. I'm looking at them. They're looking back. Finally, this girl on the front row, she raised her hand and said, "Yes, ma'am. What is it?" And she said, "You're responsible because your generation made him do it." And I thought, my goodness, I said, look, I disagree with you, but I honor you for having the courage to give me an answer. And I appreciate that. That's great insight. And I'll take that and think on it for a while. But I didn't argue. I didn't debate. It wasn't the time or place for that. But man, imagine that. Talk about the most victimized, entitled, I'm going to blame you for all of my problems. Wow. That takes a while to get your head around that one.
Go to AllisonWinePromo.com. These are extremist altitude wines. They come from between 6,000 and 9,000 feet, very remote regions of Argentina. They are working so hard for your palate, these grapes, under the sun out there. Fewer pesticides, natural fermentation and filtration, all the good stuff. Hand-picked grapes, family farms, 200-plus-year-old vineyards. Why would you want to get this somewhere else? You want to be an extremist? You're still wearing flannel pajamas. That's okay. You haven't left your grandma's basement. We're not going to judge you here. You can be an extremist and not go to federal prison by going to AllisonWinePromo.com. So thanks to everybody who is part of the Allison Wine Club. Really appreciate it. If you're watching and you want to send some mail, you don't want to use your credit card, you're paranoid about that stuff, you can go to my P.O. Box, send mail to my P.O. Box, 3355 Denellen, Florida, 34432. Nancy, I'm not going to hold up your letter because it has your address on it. Nancy Hall. Yes, I got your letter. Thank you for sending me a return note so I could send you a return letter. I will do it. She sent me an envelope that is already pre-addressed to her. Nancy Hall. I did get your letter. Thank you so much. Okay, Joel, any final thoughts before you go? I really appreciate you taking the time.
No, I'd say the final little soundbite for you is as we approach this time of desired disentanglement, I would say that the new 401k plan is to live close to people who know how to grow things, fix things, and build things. That's the new 401k plan.